I'd like to call to order the May 18th, 2023 Miamisburg School Board meeting. Would everyone please rise for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's it. Got one thing done. One thing's done.
I tell you, it's tough getting old. I can't even sit down, can't stand up. Terrible. I just had a back operation. That's why I'm so slow tonight. I'm going to read our opening to our meeting here. The district mission is to foster a positive, nurturing, and safe environment to inspire and support ongoing learning and development of individuals as productive members of our society. We must be able to conduct our meetings in an orderly fashion. Our expectations at all board meetings is that everyone conducts themselves civilly and respectfully. In the event that anyone is disruptive and interferes with the meeting, they will be asked to leave. If they do not, we will request that the law enforcement assist them in the process. Okay. Also, as a reminder, our expectations at all board meetings is that everyone conducts themselves civilly and respectfully. We will not tolerate any profanity, frivolous, repetitive, or harassing statements. And if you do have any, if you had turned in a green sheet, which I don't see any, but are there any? Okay, that just means nobody wishes to speak this evening. So if you didn't know that, if you wanted to speak, you needed to fill out a green sheet that was out on the table out there, okay? Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hamsel,
Here.
Mr. Dafford,
Here.
Mrs. Getter,
Here.
Mrs. Neese,
Here.
Mr. Toadvine,
Present.
Dr. Blessing,
I am present.
Okay. Next, like a motion to adopt the May 18th, 2023 agenda and the approval of the May 18th, 2023 board agenda opening for the meeting. And then we will discuss items E through H. Okay. Is there any questions about any of the minutes from the past? No. Okay. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the financial report dated April 30th, 2023. Mr. Blevin, please.
Yep. I'll have more information on the five-year forecast when I present that, but April finished up with revenues coming in a little higher than they were last year. Expenses are also still higher, and we expect that by the end of the year the expenses are going to come in higher, but that we should finish in the black, so that's good.
Okay, we always like to be in the black, don't we? That's good. Okay, next is something that it kind of makes me happy, but it also makes me sad, and that is the recognition of appreciation for our retirees. It is recommended that the Board of Education adopt a resolution of appreciation for the following employees. Ms. Kathy Barker. Yeah, you gotta come up here.
And we're going to have you just go stand by Mr. Toadvine. Who's going to read her resolution?
I'll do it, because resolution of appreciation, whereas Kathy Barker has rendered 30 years service to the Miamisburg City Schools, and whereas Kathy Barker's performance conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duties has exemplified the highest level of achievement. And whereas Kathy Barker has distinguished herself as a teacher in the Miamisburg City School District, now, therefore, be it resolved that the Miamisburg City School Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation for her outstanding conduct, and that such resolution will become part of the permanent minutes of the said Board of Education. And that she had 30 years in. Don't look that old, baby.
And we're gonna take a picture. And would you like to say, just, it's been a wonderful 30 years, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Well, we like to hear that, so what are you looking most forward to in retirement? Probably spending time with my grandchildren. Yeah. So, do a little bit of traveling. Highly recommend that as well. I think everyone would like to shake your hand. And then I think afterwards, we'll take a picture of everyone together. It's right being first.
Yes.
I think congratulations. I was trying to see if there was for all the retirees.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, Mike.
If you want to just have a seat, we'll call you back up when everyone's finished. How's that sound? Okay.
All right.
Who's next?
Our next person is Scott Bell.
Perfect time.
Scott, are you here?
I wasn't sure if it was.
Scott, no? Okay. He had 12.8 years of service for us. Terry Chase, where are you? Get your little hiney up here. I'm going to tell you guys a real quick story. This happens to be this is my niece, okay? And she worked in the cafeteria at the high school for years when I was there. And I'm teaching right in the middle of teaching my class, and this is anatomy and physiology, so it was like all seniors. And this little old lady comes walking in with a cane, all crippled up and everything. I'm thinking, who in the world is this person, you know? And she just walks right on over to me, pinches me on the butt right in front of the kids. And I'll go, oh, Mr. Toba, who is that? And I don't know who this is. I really didn't know it was her. I had no idea. I said, I need to call somebody to get this crazy lady out of here. But then she started laughing. I knew right away who it was then, but it was just kind of weird. Okay, resolution of appreciation for Miss Terry Chase. Terry has rendered 27 years service to the Miamisburg City Schools. And whereas Terry Chase's performance, conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duties has exemplified the highest level of achievement. And whereas Terry Chase has distinguished herself as a lunchroom employee, satellite supervisor, cook, kitchen manager, and custodian, she gets around, huh? In the Miamisburg City School District. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Miamisburg City School Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation for her outstanding conduct, and that such resolution become part of the permanent minutes of the said Board of Education. I did kiss her.
Here's your bell for all your years of service. We're going to get a picture. This person's laying back. You're going to be on social media later. So, any words you'd like to? Any words? I keep nodding. So, what are your plans? You got any plans?
Six grandkids and 11 this evening, still at home, still whatever I do.
You might be busier now than you were when you were working, right? Well, congratulations. And we're going to get to show you for a picture after that. Here's your bell box.
Yeah, you guys, please don't leave till we get the picture, all of you.
Okay. So,
Okay. Okay, next is Ms. Lynn Mayhew. By the way, Terry had 27 years of service, and she was a very, very good person with the kids and everything. She dealt well with them. Hi, Terry.
Linda, yeah, he's ready for you.
Oh, Linda, I'm sorry. I knew that.
Just not my diet.
Settle down. Resolution of appreciation. Whereas Linda has rendered 12 years service to the Miamisburg City Schools, and whereas Linda's performance, conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duty has exemplified the highest level of achievement. Thank you. And whereas Linda has distinguished herself as a teacher in the Miamisburg City School District, therefore be it resolved that the Miamisburg City Schools Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation for her outstanding conduct, that such a resolution become part of the permanent minutes of the said Board of Education.
So what are your plans?
Well, we're just going to, my daughter's getting married in September, and she's in preschool, Margot. So that's exciting, so we have that to look forward to, and just play golf and travel, and maybe come back and volunteer.
Well, that would be great. We'll put you to work. So I want to congratulate you. Shake the board.
Yeah, I-
We'll get to a picture.
Thank you so much.
If you'll come back, I think we would pay you.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, wishes.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you. Please.
But you have to, oh, I had to search 30 years. Well, I think it's, is it 25?
That's okay.
I don't, there's some criteria.
Okay. All right. Next, we'll go to Paula Morton. Is she here? There she is.
Got 8 of them. 2 people.
Well, I think I'm getting a headache. You know where a good nurse is? This resolution of appreciation, whereas Paula Morton has rendered 11 years service to the Miamisburg City Schools, and whereas Paula Morton's performance, conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duty as exemplifies the highest level of achievement, and whereas Paula Morton has distinguished herself as a school nurse in Miamisburg City School District, now there be it resolved that the Miamisburg City School Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation for her outstanding conduct, and that such resolution become part of the permanent minutes of the said board meeting of education.
Then we'll stick around and we'll get a picture of all you lucky folks. So what are your plans?
Well, I've been in business a long time, 27 years, years at the school, so it's time to spend more time with my grandkids. That's part of my life forever.
Oh, that'll be fun. Are they close by?
Yes,
I'll go.
within 5 minutes, so I'm blessed.
You'll be busy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Next is Miss Nancy Peters. How are you? Good. Okay. Whereas Nancy Peters has rendered 31 years service to the Miamisburg City Schools, whereas Nancy Peters' performance, conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duty has exemplifies the highest level of achievement, Nancy Peters has distinguished herself as a media paraprofessional in the Miamisburg City School District. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Miamisburg City School Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation, and truly 31 years is a lot to appreciate, for outstanding conduct, and that such resolution become part of the permanent minutes of said Board of Education.
Is that you with your bell? Remember a little bit. The photographer. Congratulations. So what's next for Nancy? Sounds like a great plan. That'll be fun. Well, congratulations. Stick around, we'll get a picture of everyone together. Thank you.
Yep. You earned it, Nancy. Enjoy it. Match.
As a match. Chris helped me find a match.
Okay. Lori Priest, are you here this evening? Lori? There she is. Hi, how are you? Good, thank you. Thank you for showing up on a beautiful day outside. The Resolution of Appreciation. Whereas Lori Priest has rendered 25 years service to the Miamisburg City Schools, and whereas Lori has her performance, conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duty has exemplifies the highest level of achievement, whereas Lori has distinguished herself as a lunchroom, playground paraprofessional, kindergarten paraprofessional, safety patrol, MH paraprofessional, and special education paraprofessional, in the Miamisburg City School District. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Miamisburg City School Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation for her outstanding conduct, and that such resolution become part of the permanent minutes of the said board meeting.
Congratulations, here's your bell. We'll get a picture here, right? So what's next? What's next for Lori?
A little bit of everything. I know in August I'm going to be sipping coffee on a county election school bus.
There we go. You want us to stop by after we get everybody in and have a cup?
Have some coffee.
Congratulations. Stick around for a picture once we recognize everyone.
Thank you, Lori. Okay, next we have Deborah Reinstatler. There she comes.
I'm just slow.
That's all right.
I'm going to struggle to look that way.
I just say,
Yes.
you're doing a lot better than I am, though. You got it walk straight. I'm. Okay. Excuse me. It's a resolution of appreciation. Whereas Deborah has rendered 16 years service to the Miamisburg City Schools, and whereas Deborah performance, conduct, sincerity in carrying out her duty has exemplified the highest level of achievement. Whereas Deborah Reinstatler has distinguished herself as an intervention specialist in the Miamisburg City School District. Now therefore be it resolved that the Miamisburg City Schools Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its true appreciation for her outstanding conduct, and that such resolution become part of the permanent minutes of the said board meeting. Thank you.
Right? So what's next?
What's next? What's not next? Travel. Get healthier.
What's your bucket list?
Oh my gosh, we've got a 35-day trip planned out west. I'm going to hit I-80 4 more states, get all 50 states, and we're going to get through them in September. So, and thank you. I just want to thank the community and the school board and everyone for giving me this opportunity to be part of such a great community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff
Deborah.
Toshlag, are you here?
No, he's
Deborah.
not gonna be here tonight. Yeah.
Deborah,
Shame on him.
what state are you missing?
After we hit the 3 this Hawaii. It's the bucket list, but I do more before I do Hawaii.
Well, you saved the best one for last then, didn't you?
Ms. Susan Woods. This is a resolution of a great appreciation for this young lady. Whereas Susan has rendered 21 years of service to the Miamisburg City Schools, and whereas Susan's performance, conduct, and sincerity in carrying out her duty has exemplified the highest level of achievement, and trust me, folks, it was high level of achievement. Susan Wood has distinguished herself as an exemplary elementary assistant principal and an elementary principal in the Miamisburg School District. Therefore, be it resolved that the Miamisburg City School Board of Education pass this resolution as a token of its appreciation for her outstanding conduct, always, thank you for that, and your hard work, and that such resolution become part of the permanent minutes of the said Board of Education.
It's okay, it's okay. Just let it go. It's okay.
No, you're good.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Congratulations, Susan. Thank you so much. Here's your bell. So, and I did a picture for Miss Brenda. So tell us about what your next steps are in my final words.
Before I do that,
Absolutely.
I just very quickly want to extend my appreciation to current board, current central office, and those of past. It has been literally a privilege to serve community in the district for the last 21 years. I'm going to go a little different than some of the others. Education for 35 years, and it's not often that we can acknowledge those that have helped us along the way. So I'm going to attempt to get through a thank you to my lovely family that I have brought with me. My mother, Liz, thinking of my father tonight. I'm who I am today because of you. Blessed to have a brother that's nudged me in place for the last X number of years and very supportive. I didn't hear it, do I watch it? Yes. And a big supporter of our family. Blessed to have two moms. Judy, my mother-in-law, is with me along with my husband who has supported me from day one. And then family, friends, and colleagues, Regina, thank you for what you have done the last 6 years in Shannon River as well.
Get one more picture. You're not gonna hold the box. Just in case we forget, right? That would be very hard to do.
Everybody.
Everybody, come on up. All these lovely ladies, come on up. It's okay. Is that everybody? There you go. All right. So yellow me if we don't get the pictures all pretty, right?
You're giving me great lighting.
Yeah. There's some picture, folks behind us, make sure everyone gets a picture. Yeah.
There we go.
All women.
Let's give these ladies a big round of applause. Thank you so much for coming. Congratulations.
I'd like to tell you before you leave, there was, I'm not exactly sure the number, but there's close to like 260 years of experience walking out our door.
celebrate tonight, so good for them. Lots of dinners.
Going through something.
Sorry, Stacy, I won't do it again. I promise.
Is the Velcro bad?
I knocked him back.
That wasn't nothing wrong with Velcro. It was the person that was standing by the Velcro.
We just have magnets everywhere, so we have to fix this. Now we know what to do.
We need duct tape.
I think it's a sign.
I may have to make a donation.
How not to go.
Well, okay, next we'll move on to our recognition of citizen, staff, and students. And we're going back to the April Student of the Month, because I'll be here at our last monthly board meeting. Addison Ledley. Are you here, Addison? There you go. Oh, I couldn't see you. You sit behind that thing. I couldn't see you.
Okay.
Mr. Freeze is hiding in that room. We should just look at him in there. Make a face at him. I'll see you.
Miamisburg Schools April District Student of the Month is 11th grader Addison Ledley. Addison was nominated by Miamisburg High School art teacher Miss Megan Newton. Miss Newton said Addison shows responsibility by coming to class prepared every day, taking work home if needed, coming into class to continue to work, and putting forth extra effort at all times. Addison upholds expectations by taking all work tasks with intense effort and focus. She is always the class example for all projects. She follows all behavior expectations and is a model student for her classmates. Addison respects others by working collaboratively with everyone she works with. She is a person who other students seek out for her advice and constructive feedback. Addison gets involved by working tirelessly outside of school through the band program and designing logos for nearly all community events. She is a leader in the band program and is sought after for her leadership qualities. The Practical and Fine Arts Department is proud to nominate Addison Ledley as Student of the Month for April 2023. She was a unanimous decision by the visual arts and music teachers, as Addison is a phenomenal student whose creativity is unmatched by many. This is my first year meeting Addison in Art 2 and Art 3, and I quickly could tell that she was a creative powerhouse. Her dedication to her craft is inspiring, and she shows this by taking work home, coming in during flex period, or staying late to finish her work. She always takes her work to the next level and never settles for less. Addison is a student who is truly a visionary, and I oftentimes look for her for input with many projects as I seek her creative advice on projects that I'm working on. For example, I am in the process of doing a mural at the Miamisburg High School, and we are hopefully going to be working with well-known Dayton street artists. Addison was able to collaborate with me on her iPad, and we were able to present a design to the artist in order to get some feedback for the wall. She is someone whose skill helps illuminate everyone around her. I love watching her give such a concise and tangible feedback to her peers. Her concise is not only felt in the classroom level, but also within the Miamisburg community. Addison has created, designed, and implemented her art into the band and LAX logos for our district. Miamisburg Band are fortunate to have her original artwork on their t-shirt logos, flyers, and in general promotional materials. If you ever seen the logos for the marching band show A Thirst For, then you have seen Addison's work. If you have ever seen the logo for the 2023 Winds performance, Bounce, then you have seen Addison's work. If you ever have seen the 2023 Berg LAX logo, then you have seen Addison's work. And the list goes on and on and on. Addison's art has given back to the Miamisburg community and beyond in so many ways. When asked about her work, she said that it is the coolest thing to see students walking around the hallways wearing her designs on their t-shirts. Her work in class is not only personal and meaningful, but her design work speaks to a community that is even larger than Miamisburg. She encompasses what Miamisburg stands for. She inspires others with her work ethic and skill. She collaborates with everyone by giving impactful feedback and is a true team player. And she is truly an innovative student who pushes the boundaries of what can be accomplished at Miamisburg High School. But don't just take my word for it. This is what her teachers have to say about her. Addison is so impressed me with her drive and determination, regardless of the media, subject matter, or technique. She is always in there, reworking until she has something that she was pleased with. She was an excellent role model for other students. Wendy Harris. Addison is an exceptional human that demonstrates the true meaning of being a Miamisburg Viking. She puts forth effort that most peers into each and every project, going above and beyond both concept and quality. She is a leader in the classroom and kindly takes time to help the peers with her work. Addison also listens deeply and shows her caring spirit by being there for her peers without judgment. An excellent student and overall wonderful human. Noel Pullman. Addison Ledley really is an anatomy of what Miamisburg Vikings should be. In addition to being an outstanding performer with fantastic work ethic, she is always willing to do whatever it takes behind the scenes to help. Our groups would not be able to function this year without her. Steve Allward. Finally, Addison showed me in a short period of time that she has the potential to be highly successful after high school and would be a crucial asset to any team. Addison is a hardworking, creative advocate for the arts, and I am so proud to have been part of her journey. That's pretty impressive, and the longest that I have ever read on any student that we've ever had, and I've been here 12 years now. That's pretty phenomenal. Congratulations.
Addison, I really like the word powerful. You know, who's that lady over there on the floor? You know who that is? Is that who that is? I think I know her too. Yeah, you look exactly like you did. How many? Just 10 years ago, right? I knew who you are. I knew right away. I mean, how could you not tell? Look, it's wonderful.
Well, on behalf of the Board of Education, we want to present you with the medallion. So congratulations. So what do you have going on this summer? I mean, it sounds like you're not busy at all. So. Are you a Disney fan? Oh, I am. I love all the six. Oh, excellent. Do you like to ride rides? Yeah, fine. You're up for Disney, so I don't really know. Well, let me know what you think. So have a great trip. Congratulations. I think your board wants to shake your hand.
Yeah.
And then we'll get some pictures. You guys want to come up? It's okay. I mean, you can come right back.
Addison, while they're coming up here, I have to say that I want your mother to hear this. She was a fabulous student, and I absolutely adored having her in class. She was every day. Never absent, always there, and a hard worker.
It's okay, join the club.
Mr. Sarah needs to hop in too.
Well, congratulations. Thank you for sharing your wonderful life with us.
Can't get away yet. A couple years. Well, that was fun. Uh-oh. May Student of the Month has the same last name as I do. I don't know where he came from. It is Josiah Cy Toadvine, Mark Twain Elementary School. Come on up here.
The Miamisburg Schools May District Student of the Month is Mark Twain Elementary School fourth grader Josiah Cy Dale Toadvine. Rumor has it that you have a middle name, Josiah. Dale? Son, do you realize what shoes you have to fill? Cy was nominated by his teacher, Amy King. Miss King said, "Some people are kind or hardworking. Others find a way to give back to those around them. However, there are two who display an amazing combination of all those wonderful qualities and more. Cy Toadvine is one of those incredible individuals. Cy is a positive role model and leader on a daily basis in and out of the classroom. Serving on student council in both 3rd and 4th grade has provided opportunities for Cy to promote school spirit and serve our community with service projects including donations to Miamisburg Helping Hands Food Pantry and Threads of Miami Valley. In the classroom, Cy eagerly participates in class discussions and activities. He regularly reaches out to other students to include them in activities and group work. On the playground, Cy thinks of others and allows his fellow students to go ahead of him in a game of soccer or gaga ball. He shows responsibility as he successfully balances his studies at school and a busy schedule of lacrosse practice and regular visits with his extended family. Initiative is another trait that Cy models here at Mark Twain Elementary. In his math studies, he eagerly challenges himself to learn new skills and pushes himself in IXL to advance in new levels of understanding. Cy finds creative methods to share his knowledge with his classmates and develops songs and innovative, fun dance moves that he teaches to the rest of the class to help them remember important vocabulary words and math concepts.
He gets all those moves from his grandpa.
I bet he does, Dale. Cy brings joy, positivity, and collaboration to our class community, and we're so grateful for his many contributions to our class and school. For all those reasons, it is with great pleasure that Cy Toadvine is nominated for Student of the Month at Mark Twain Elementary School for May 2023. Congratulations.
Well, on behalf of the Board of Education, we'd like to present you this medallion. You're welcome. Congratulations. So tell me who you brought with you this evening. Did you drive over? describe yourself tonight? No. Oh, just me.
Hey, what am I, Chuck Louie here?
So what's your plans for the summer? Anything exciting? Excellent. Have you ever seen the movie Hoosiers? It's about that. You need to check it out. There's some great colleges in Indiana too. I'll help you out. I want to turn you into a Hoosier basketball fan. How's that sound?
Notre Dame.
That works. Well, why don't we have everyone come up and get a picture? What do you think? Okay. Well, come on up, everyone. And then, Miss, please. Yeah, there you go. Come on in, everyone. We'll squeeze in. So. I think he's gonna have to sign autographs afterwards, right? Well, thank you, Simon, for coming, and thank you all for sharing him with us. And I'm gonna be following that basketball career, okay?
You're not staying for my presentation.
Next, we'll move on to Principal, oh, sorry, Mr. Dale Geyer from the Jane Chance School, Elementary School, with his presentation.
Good evening. I'd like to present about our year at Jane Chance Elementary School. It started off with the presentation from the previous year, and
Dale, hold on one second. Can you guys hear okay? No?
is this microphone not working?
Yeah.
Better now?
Lean into the microphone.
Lean into the microphone. Okay. Is that okay? I'll try that. So last year, it started in 21-22 school year. We had a teacher who filled a long-term sub for us for the school year named Dawn Ivy Burke, and she brought this lovely gift to me called The Leader in Me, and it ended up being a book study. I had teachers go through the classroom, the way she was running it, and she combined kids halfway through the school year, and it was just magic. And she just ran it this way. So we decided as a staff to do a book study based on Leader in Me. And I have to shout out to Clarissa Fulkerson and Colleen Green. I used their presentation we shared at SEL as a backboard for all of what we've done. Casey Fife in her classroom, Jessica Lay, Haley Moore, they helped to make this presentation pretty for me. I'm not a pretty, that's not me. There's students in the presentation as well, and their families were granted permission to present the information, and my entire staff and students and parents that were also all involved with this process this school year. So if you go to the next slide. So it kind of started off with the presentation of the building. It kind of enveloped the Leader in Me, and you look on the far right, that's thanks to John Cowlett Select Signs, as well as Miamisburg News and the West Carrollton News. They donated the boxes. I got them kind of fixed up, and then John Cowell took over the pretty part. So Mr. Fife actually fixed the insides of these boxes for us, but then John Cowell made them pretty. And then that's kind of how the new entrance to the building changed with like little to no dollars. Next slide, please. So the whole theme is when you walked in the building, we wanted kids to understand they were entering to learn, but they're also exiting to lead. So when they're exiting to lead, that doesn't matter if it's their family, themselves, but hopefully it spreads to the entire community and how they present themselves to others. We're looking to empower kids to be leaders of their own and everybody else. Next slide. I'm trying to be fast too. So as you walk in, if you've been at Jane Chance, we have those fake windows on the interior, and all of those key terms from the 8 habits that we do are across the tops of the windows. So when kids come in, they see this as they come in the building, as well as those two signs at the entrance and exit. Next slide. Committee, including students, helped me develop key things or key items, key terms that are up in the building in key areas. So when you look at think, win, win on the top left, that's above our gym doors, because when kids get in arguments and scuffles in gym, we want them to think of solutions. Look on the far right, seek first to understand, then to be understood. That's on our playground doors as you exit. And being proactive on the bottom left is in all the bathrooms on the wall high up. So you're thinking about, being proactive, making the right choices when no one's watching. Next slide, please.
1. Be proactive. I can do the right thing even when no one's watching. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. I can set a goal and make a plan. Habit 3. Put first things first. You get your work done so you can have the fun. Habit 4. Think win-win. Everyone can win. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listen first, talk second. Habit 6. Synergize. I can get along with everyone, even those who are different from me. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. I can take care of my body. Habit 8. Find your voice. I can use what I do well to help others. Thanks, girls. All right, does anybody want to share a habit that you're going to focus on today? You have to tell me which habit and how you're going to use it. Gwen.
I'm going to be proactive and I'm going to my area when I'm done working and I'm going to keep my desk organized.
I love that because that helps you be a better worker. All right, good thinking. Anybody else? Aubrey. Okay, and so that's putting first things first. How are you going to do that today? You're going to be focused on your work? Okay, I love it. Chloe?
You can go next one. So we tied in Sanford Harmony, Leader Me. Go ahead, you're good. Sanford Harmony circles and all this stuff is all tied in with Leader and Me. And actually the videos were found by the kids. That dance that you saw was found by the kids, and then it kind of grew across the building because the kids found it. It wasn't something that we were pushing on them at all, which was really cool. Go ahead.
Checking in again with our emotional bank accounts. So you're going to tell me a way that you could deposit into someone's emotional bank account or a way that someone withdraws from your emotional bank account. Make sense? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, give them a compliment. Good, that's a way to deposit. Congrats. So when Brad says best teacher ever, what do you think that does for my emotional bank account? Yeah, that makes you deposit.
Okay. So then at that retreat, we looked at all of our, we were purposeful in our retreat, and we set our goals, and you'll see the goals there, 80% mastery for this Ohio State tests. So that's different than our district goals, but that was what we're measured by the state. So we have made the decision to make that our building goals for the year, and we're going to do the best that we can to achieve those. And the bottom is our SEL goal for the year, and that's our big rock goals, the big picture that we're trying to achieve. And we drilled down and looked at data for reading and math for Ohio State test results, and then we took down those specific standards or strands data and went all the way down to kindergarten and tried to figure out ways that our kids could improve at each and every grade level for reading and math. So then we decided to focus on reading, which is the next slide. And these are our small rock quote-unquote goals. And this is a sample from January for a reading log competition that we had for home reading. and the grade levels were in competition with each other. The far left slide, you can see that each of the bar graphs, each of the bars are different colors. Those are for different months. And across the top, it's total minutes read across the grade level. And the kindergarten data is a little skewed because it's halftime kindergarten, and we don't have full data for the entire year on there. Next slide, please. So this comes into our safety and sense of belonging goals for social emotional learning, and this also ties into our Random Acts of Kindness month. Yep. She talked. It was a conversation at lunch about chicken nuggets. Pretty funny. Next slide.
I liked how Sandy was helping hold up the chart. Our hand sanitizer robot, is it Sandy?
Yeah, Sandy. Yep.
He was helping
To hold up the charts.
data.
Yeah. Sandy.
I
Yep.
liked it.
So this is the calendar that the staff all got of events that was happening for Random Act of Kindness Month as well as Black History Month. And there's things sprinkled in across the entire calendar for each week, every day. The chicken scratch pencil marks are the stuff that staff didn't know about, where I was surprising staff as well. Next slide, please. Student council made a mural on the playground walking path, similar to what Meadowview has done in the past. Next. And this is the kindness cards the student council made that we gave to USO. Next slide.
Hi, my name is Talon, and I'm at my school's JCE, and the way I like to use the habits are, I like to use habit 5 and habit 7. Habit 5 is first to understand and to be understood. Whenever my parents are talking, I listen, and then I talk after them, and then if I ask a question and they answer, I wait until they're done talking to talk again. And habit 7, sharpen the saw. I can take care of my body. I like to eat healthy foods and exercise and go to the gym.
So a little bit about Talon Scott. He came to me in 3rd grade. He is a natural leader. He came in. He didn't know the school culture, didn't know anything, and he fit in within like 4 days. And I asked him about doing this presentation, and I asked him that morning. He goes, "I'm not sure." And I said, "I just want you to talk about how they've impacted your life outside of school." And I went to him after lunch and recess, and I said, "What do you think?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll come down. I'll do it." So he sat down, and I said, "You know what you're going to say?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you want to practice?" "Nope." So he just wanted to roll, and it was, one cut, it was perfect. Next.
My name is Oliver Knapp. I am in 1st grade. The leader in me makes kids be leaders, and then when they are leaders, it makes other kids be leaders, and then when they're leaders, it makes the teachers happy. Because then they don't have to work as hard.
Out of the mouths of babes, right? 1st grader, unprompted. It was perfect. Next one.
I'm Will. I go to school at Chance Elementary. The habits have helped me reach my goal by the end of the year.
My name is Ryan, and I'm from J. Chance Elementary, and even though I've not passed my goal yet, I am still on track, and I'm still trying my best in using my habits and listening to the teachers here.
Next one.
On track. Even though I wasn't on track here, I'm still listening and trying, still on track now.
So just when I thought Ryan was done speaking, he starts talking again. I'm like, whoa, wait. And so we just did one cut for that one too. But these kiddos in 5th grade, you could walk down my hallways and ask any 5th grader what their Lexile level is and what their MAP score is for reading and math, and they can tell you. And if they can't, they'll be like, oh, and then they'll come back and tell you in a second because they know all their scores. They know where they're going to be, where they are now, and where they need to be for their growth, and then where they want to end the year. And they actually make action plans and statements to reach those goals. They're SMART goals. Very proud of my school, very proud of my staff for getting on board. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Any questions for Mr. Geyer? It's okay.
I do have one.
Yes.
What are the responses that you're getting from parents?
I can think of one specific family that has 3 kids in my building, and she loves it. She and her husband asked me what I've done to their kids. They just love that the fact that they can talk about the habits, and then if they reference the habits, the kid just like, and they kind of put their heads down like, I'm not doing that. And it's not used as a punishment, but it's used as a realization of what you should be doing.
Growth.
Yeah, it's all proactive, all positive stuff.
Good.
Aligns with our bark chart and everything too. So
Anyone else?
Is that something, do you go over the habits every day? Is that what
I
you
do not go over the habits every day. They do the chant in the classrooms. That was organic and it grew from them. Like we were working on Sanford Harmony, we agreed to have specific things in the classroom to start the day and incorporate that as part of our circles, and it just grew. I mean, it's every day. It's come through any time in the morning at 9 o'clock, and you'll see it happen at 8:55. Anybody else? All right.
Good.
Thanks again.
Thank you. That's great. Okay. Next, we have a presentation by Ms. Anika Tucker, the Black Student Union presentation in the high school.
Remember, we have to talk into the microphone, and Mr. Freeze will get you back there.
Good evening, community members and school board. Again, my name is Onika Tucker, currently a middle school teacher, 8th grade intervention specialist. And
good evening, my name is Kristen Idom. I'm a junior at Miamisburg High School. Looking forward to my senior year.
so we have created a little presentation for you just to kind of give you an idea of what the organization would like to do this coming school year or next year.
I'm going to read the mission statement for you. The Black Student Union, BSU, of Miamisburg High School is an organization open to any student, regardless of race or ethnicity, who is committed to intellectual, cultural, social, and ethnic diversity. The BSU's focus is to build awareness, education, and a new level of consciousness about being an African American in today's society. We aim to teach others about diversity and show that through engaging in activities focused on acceptance and tolerance, we will get a better understanding of others while learning about ourselves.
Next slide. So the goal of the BSU organization. The BSU organization inclusively works to bring about positive racial relations on campus by promoting mutual respect for all cultures. The BSU provides panel discussions, guest lecturers, community service opportunities, and campus community interaction. The BSU also will encourage MHS students to strive for higher education. And the organization helps to make those goals achievable by identifying opportunities for students to earn academic, arts, and service scholarships. The club is student governed with faculty supervision and sponsorship. The BSU vision is to help build positive self-esteem, to foster self-confidence, to gain friendship, and most importantly, to create leaders, achievers, and believers. I'm going to have to pull this up on my screen. I can't see that from there. I would say that this has to be something that was on my heart this school year. So this is my why and why it's important for me. And then you can speak to the importance it is for our African American students on campus. The why for me is to prioritize students' intellectual growth, including their ability to think critically and problem solve, to foster and encourage higher learning, to create an environment where students affirm and appreciate their culture of origin while also developing the confidence to share that with their school community and climate. To teach students how to identify, analyze, and solve real-world problems, especially those that result in society inequities against marginalized people. We kind of left you with a quote. I don't know if you can see that. You want to read that one? Okay. I think we can see it better on there. Yeah. I was struggling on this side.
It's hard to keep an open mind if you don't have an open heart. You don't have to agree with what people think to learn from how they think. You don't have to share their identity to be curious about what shaped it. Treating people with respect, tolerance, and kindness is a prerequisite for discovery.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
you.
Yes.
This will
Questions that you
be,
might have?
we're recommending, the high school is recommending that the BSU be added to one of the club choices for the fall, and it'll be in the consent items. But this is a time where if there's any questions for the group, I think you've got some other folks with you as well, correct, tonight?
Well, actually, that is my daughter, who's back there, my best friend. Okay, yes. Just to kind of give you a background, Black student unions are nationally recognized on college campuses across the country. You're starting to see more of a recent development where high schools now are implementing those organizations on campus, especially where African American students are the minority. Locally, Centerville High School, where my daughter will attend next school year, has a Black student union, along with Northmont City Schools and Fairmont. So, again, it was on my attention. As a middle school, we do our best to support all students in our minority population at the middle school. And then I kind of had this epiphany. What happens to our students when they move up to the high school? I don't travel with and had no desire at the time to move up to the high school. And it was like, what could I do more of? And with our sense of belonging survey that we send out every year, having conversations with some of the students up there, there's a definite need for it. Some of them don't have that sense of belonging. And some of the things that they go through and endure at the high school and remain silent by not saying anything to staff members or teachers is not okay. So hopefully we can provide that safe place where we can build a sense of community there outside just the Miamisburg community to address some of those needs. And I don't know if you want to speak to any of that. I will give you the floor. And if not, that's okay too.
I also agreed that it would be nice to have a space where we can all communicate, because sometimes it feels like our voices aren't heard as one, so all together we believe that our voices will be heard more.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
This is a very nice job. Okay, next, move on to the 5-year forecast with Mr. Blevins.
Neil keeps dying to get me to talk, and now I got no choice, so I'm going to present this stuff. So to ensure accuracy and clarity, I prepared a script that I'm going to reference throughout the presentation. I'd like to note that the full forecast report is available on board docs, and the forecast is a dynamic document, so it's constantly being updated with live data, and as more information becomes available, I'm committed to providing you with regular updates as necessary to ensure that you're fully informed of any deviations of the information that's presented currently. And as I get into the forecast, if you want to go to the next slide, this just kind of reiterates what I'm saying right now and kind of talks about the forecast methodology, that I'm using data that's coming to me and then trying to project off of historical data as well. And from that, this is where these numbers are coming from. So as more data comes in, the numbers get closer and closer to the actuals for the end of the year. Given that it is May, we only have May and June left in the fiscal year, and so that'll be the end. So we're close. All right, if you want to go on to the next one. So the 5-year forecast covers the 001 General Fund, which covers the day-to-day operations of our school and provides an overall understanding of our financial health. While there are several other funds with specific purposes, such as 400, 500 funds for state and federal grants, and an 003 fund for school facilities and technology. The focus of this, as we review the forecast, is going to be over the 001 General Funds. So as a summary of the forecast, it's up there on the screen. The revenues, as I mentioned about at the end of the April monthly are higher than projected. And so because of this, we're projected the end of the year by about $800,000 in the black. And so that'll add to the cash balance, which is good. However, this is projected to change drastically, as you can see if you look at that table. Next year, as the ESSER fund money starts to be exhausted and those expenses that were previously covered by that grant begin to come back onto the general fund, it starts to put more stress on our cash fund. Starting in financial year 24, we project that expenses are going to exceed revenue by $3.8 million, and this deficit is projected to increase to $11.8 million by 2027. Continual deficit spending will gradually deplete our cash balance, and if left unaddressed, will lead the district to be in fiscal emergency by 2026. So that's why it's important that we take a look at this and explore some options for what we need to do moving forward. There are two significant factors, however, that may require amendments to this forecast, which I anticipate having more information on by the end of June. The first of those is the potential increase in appraisal amounts by the county auditor of real estate, which would result in a higher tax revenue for our district. And the second factor is the passage of House Bill 33, which could include an updated formula that would potentially increase our state aid. Additionally, the forecast is going to be influenced by the growth in real estate development and enrollment. Go to the next one there. So this slide shows an overview of the revenue sources. Real estate property tax represents the largest component, accounting for approximately 54% of our operating revenue. And this is followed by state aid, which is almost 30%. So the bulk of where we're getting our money are coming from these two sources. The other revenue sources contribute approximately 16% of our operating revenue, and we expect that their impact is going to remain stable through 2027, meaning that there's not going to be a giant growth in any one of those other factors that's going to all of a sudden start to produce more money for the school. Overall, we project a steady annual increase of 1.47% in revenue through financial year 27. If you want to go to that next slide. So the reason I put this slide on here, property taxes have historically experienced an average growth rate of about 1.56%, and our current projections indicate that there's going to be an average annual growth rate of 1.54% through FY27. And the thing that I want to point out on this graph here is sort of that stair step. You can see every 3 years it looks like it goes up. And so what's happening is as properties are reappraised and the values go up, because Miamisburg sits on the 20 mil floor, we're able to capture that additional revenue. As reappraisals occur and home prices go up, we're able to generate more money for the school.
That doesn't happen everywhere.
Right.
A lot of schools aren't on that anymore.
Right.
So that's
So, you know, the way it works is if we weren't on the 20 mil floor and we pass a levy, as home values go up, the millage would be rolled back, so there wouldn't be an extended burden on the taxpayers, right? Well, because we're on the 20 mil floor, they won't roll it back any further than the 20 mils. And so that's why when home values increase, we get to capture that additional revenue. Yeah, you can go to the next one, thank you. So Ohio uses a 2-year financial plan that the government creates to allocate funds for education, and this budget determines how much money will be available for schools and how it's going to be spent. And the potential impact of House Bill 33, which is going to address the budget for the upcoming school years, shows we could possibly receive a cumulative $2.7 million in state aid in financial year 24 and upwards of $5.6 million by 25. This bill was passed in the House of Representatives and is currently being reviewed in the Senate. Some likely changes could include money allocated toward the backpack bill that has been discussed and other possible restrictions that will direct the school on how to spend the money. So this is going to be a help if this passes, but it's not going to address the overall problem that we're seeing because of kind of the dump of expenditures coming back to the general fund. Go to that next one. So moving on to expenditures, this is a detailed breakdown. While the contributors of our expenses remain relatively consistent, the overall expenditure amounts are projected to increase at a rate of almost 7%. So when I talked about revenues increasing by like 1.4%, you can see the expenditures are looking to increase by close to 7%, 6.91%. Salaries and benefits represent the largest expense category, accounting for 84% of our total expenditures. And all other expenses account for 16% of our total expenditures, and will have a relatively stable impact until financial year 27. So again, similarly with revenue, those other additional factors aren't going to change drastically, and primarily we're looking at salaries and benefits as being the largest contributors of the expenses. So as shown on the graph here, salaries experienced slight annual increases from 2018 through 2020, which is common as your workforce gains years of experience and you go through cycles of contract negotiations, wages go up. But then you see there's a slight dip from 20 to 22, and then a more sharp and steady increase from 22 on. And that's the impact of those COVID relief funds, where certain people have been coded to that COVID relief fund. And so the salaries and benefits were taken care of through that. And now as that money is being exhausted and those individuals come back to the general fund, we see the increase here. Benefits closely follow the trends we see in salary. The slide and the accompanying graphs look similar to the salary information we looked at on the previous slide, and I don't see any indication that benefit costs are going to decrease. We're working with our insurance providers to explore the best options so that staff can receive quality benefits and the district can realize as much savings as possible, but this is pretty typical of trends here. To understand the impact of revenue expenses on our cash balance, this graph here gives a good visual representation where we can see that in financial year 24, the expenditures begin to exceed the revenue, and the yellow line, which represents cash balance, starts to go down. As we follow that yellow line through 27, the gap between revenue and expenditure gets larger, and the decrease of the cash balance increases. Maintaining a cash balance equal to 3 months of expenditures is what's considered fiscally responsible. However, based on the current projections, the district is not going to be able to meet that standard about a quarter into fiscal year 25. So while the school brings in revenue at different amounts throughout the year, at different parts of the year, we see large influxes of revenue. It's not going to be enough for us to kind of maintain that fiscally responsible 3 months of expenditures that's there. Okay, I think you can maybe go on to the next slide then. So the combination of those ESSER funds expiring and rising costs, along with just having a pretty stagnant revenue, presents a situation where the district is likely going to need to consider a levy in tax calendar year 24 so that it'll take effect in 25 and maintain a cash balance aligned with fiscally responsible practices. It'll be necessary to bring in that money. However, once we receive information regarding possible reappraisals and the new cost base for the Fair School State Funding Plan, I will adjust the forecast, and I think that once those things occur, if they occur kind of the way it seems like they're going to go, then these projections will change, and like I mentioned, I will update everybody once that takes place.
Isn't it really nice, Justin, to not be hanging in a lurch all the time, not knowing whether, if my home, if I was worrying about how I was going to be able to pay my bills all the time, I think I'd drive myself crazy, And I know you're doing that for the school, and appreciate it. I mean, I tell you, it's I don't think people really understand sometimes that we make a certain amount of money. When I say make, it's brought to us, and we've not got any big, huge increases, and we're sure not any coming unless the levy does pass. So, it's tough to continue, having a really, really great school system that we have now, and it just makes me sad to even think that there's a possibility of our children having a lesser education if we can't supply the teachers and everything that we're going to need. And I shouldn't have interrupted you. I'm sorry, but
No, you're fine.
That's where my brain went to.
That's obviously I don't really enjoy speaking a whole lot, but I don't
You're
mind
doing
messing
great.
with the numbers as much as talking in front of everybody. That kind of bothers me. It's kind of, I have to present the doom and gloom because that's what the situation is. But I say that I'm pretty confident that there's going to be some changes that will have enough of an impact that we can take a look at possibly pushing some of this stuff out so that the impact that we're seeing, and it's not just Miamisburg. I think there was, I don't know how many schools were just up for new money levies, and everybody's coming to this because it's kind of what, in my treasurer meetings, they've been calling the Esser cliff. So as those COVID relief funds run out, everybody's been able to kind of glide along, but now that they're gone, if you look at a lot of the graphs on the cash balances, the Esser cliff is when you see everybody's cash balance start to tank. And that's because just the nature of school funding, you're kind of at the mercy of the state and what they're going to decide to do, which hopefully they're making some changes, but is it going to be enough to stave off needing to ask the community for money? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that glider you're talking about, as it goes down, if it doesn't stop, it's going to crash.
Right.
And we definitely don't want that to happen. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's it.
You sure?
Don't ask me to do it twice.
All right, well. Thank you, sir. That's his first real 5-year forecast, and he did a great job, so thank you, sir. Even I understood it, so.
Yeah, and thanks, Justin, for always being available for questions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And very prompt as well.
Yep. Anybody else? Questions?
Nope.
Good.
Keep
Okay,
it
thank
rolling.
you, sir. Keep her rolling. All right, next we go to the elementary enrollment study update, and that will be our Honorable Dr. Laura Blessing.
Thank you, Mr. Toadvine. Welcome, Nyla, to your first board meeting. I hope it's going well for you, and we're doing everything we told you we were going to do when we talked earlier, right? Like, this is how it works. So we have not had our May enrollment study meeting, but we did want to give a quick update. Mrs. Neese has done a great job updating us on all of the construction updates because Miamisburg is growing. We have a more diverse population than we had just 5 years ago, and we also have a larger population as we start to see some new developments. So this is kind of, what we shared during the enrollment study of the different areas that are seeing growth. And then on the next slide, Mrs. Neese, you want to talk a little bit about this in terms of the information that you gathered?
Yeah, it's hard for me to talk with my nose stuffed up, but I'll try. Both of those developments plan to have sales going on early summer. And even though the model for MI Homes isn't complete, they have other models to look at in Cincinnati, so forth. So they plan to start their sales. And of course, the Rivendell home is finished, totally finished. And then, according to the multiple listing site, 6 homes have sold in Aberdeen since our last meeting. So, and those are the sale dates. So, yeah, if you go out there, you'll be amazed. If you go out to, it's North 741. There's 2 different entrances, and the one goes to the MI Homes and the Redwood Apartments, and they're actually digging holes right now for the Redwood Apartments. And of course, those don't have to sell. They're gonna go up regardless. And then, yeah, so it's moving. The foundation has been built for the MI home. So
I think she has some pictures on the next slide, so we can kind of show. This is of the MI home foundation, and then the finished Rivendell home, which is in the Bauer School District. Both of those builds, as well as the next slide that has the Redwood Apartments. So
they were digging some pretty big holes. So, yeah.
And I think the next slide, the Austin Commons. So
Yeah.
this is 47 units that, kind of like the Redwood Apartments, they'll start leasing those, I think, around August. So that would impact Jane Chance enrollment for this coming year. So I think there's just one more there. And I think I know some people have mentioned to me that out at Patriot Place across the river, a lot of clearing of trees and just making it ready to develop, I believe.
Well, it's more than clearing of trees. I drive by there probably 3 or 4 times a day from doing real estate and everything myself. And they're bringing the utilities and stuff in right. Well, they've been doing it now for 2 weeks. There was a dead end road over in the development there right next door, and they're just extending that right on out into where you see where they've destroyed everything there other than maybe a couple of trees. Makes me sad. My property, I actually own a farm that hooks up to that property, and all the deer and all the wildlife they're over at my place, and I can't even grow one flower now. Used to, I could at least have a few flowers, but they're in there eating everything I put up. So my garden, I guess I'll just have to go steal somebody else's tomatoes. I don't know, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I think that's, tomorrow we're going to be visiting a school in Findlay, kind of a like district to us, and they do some grade banded configurations of K1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. So there's about 15 of us from the district going on that trip, and then we'll have a meeting next Wednesday to kind of recap. We also have a redistricting map that's been completed by our transportation software. So the committee will look at that, and we'll share that during our June board meeting. And then we've got some data of schools that do grade banding, just to look and see their progress and their academic strengths and how they kind of compare to our current configuration. And then we're going to take a bus tour this summer of all of the 7 elementary enrollment areas and also of the new construction. So everyone on the committee kind of gets an idea of the different locations and just kind of what's happening in each of the enrollment areas. So we're going to take a field trip. Yeah, maybe we'll stop at Dairy Queen if we're allowed, right? Or who knows? They're voting. They're voting for that. So yeah. So more to come next month. So thank you.
Okay. Next, we'll go to the Equity Fellows presentation.
I think earlier this year, Mrs. Thomas shared as part of her middle school update the Equity Fellows group, and they finished their year. So they just want to spend a few minutes kind of sharing their takeaways from their professional development this year. So I think you can start the next slide. Yeah. This is just a historical background for the board and for anybody who's viewing or wants to access it through our board docs. Just when the Equity Fellows program started in Montgomery County in 2018 through our Learn to Earn partners of Dayton and also our Montgomery County ESC. So back then, I say before COVID, just finding ways to address the achievement gaps and find solutions for our growing and expanding populations and how we can provide more credentials and increase that graduation rate. And so as that program began at Northmont and Dayton Public Schools, the county received some grant funding, and then it expanded to other schools in the county, which we were one of those. So I'm going to let the group kind of give you their takeaway, but this is just kind of a historical slide for anyone to read in their spare time. So I think the next slide you can move on to, Mrs. Dobson, and I'm going to let the team take it away.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Damon, and I represent, well, we all represent the Equity Fellows. So what is it, you ask, right? Well,
Jennifer,
we decided...
Can I interrupt you 1 second, please?
Yes?
When you guys come to the microphone, would you say what your job is in the
Sure.
district?
I teach 4th grade language arts and social studies at Mark Twain. Have been there 23 years. And so it's a program in which educators and teacher leaders grow together in their understanding of themselves and those around them in terms of the social construct of race. Race is an issue, like it or not. It's the world we live in. And so this is eye-opening. It was informative. We learned a lot. It was also transformative. What we learned was very shifted our thinking and made us more inclusive, I want to say, and aware of what's going on. So by the numbers, if you change the slide, we had 13 sessions in 9 months. That's 1,560 hours of training, and it counted for 24 PD hours. It represented the entire district, so we had 3 principals, I think, and 7 teachers and 1 specialist, representing 6 buildings across all grade levels, impacting 5,000 students. And one of the coolest things was for elementary, middle, and high school teachers to be dialoguing together about the students that we share. And it's a 2-year commitment. So this whole first year was on informing self, looking inward. What do we know? What do we think we know? What don't we know? And we learn from others through listening, and you'll hear more about that. So next year is year 2, in which we will disseminate intentionally what we've learned to the staff. We've actually, part of our program was to make a plan for what that's going to look like. So those are my 2 slides.
I'm Casey Gallagher, and I work with K through 5 English as a second language learners at 4 of the elementaries here in Miamisburg. So I'm going to talk to you about my most powerful takeaway from this training was learning the power of active listening, being an active listener. So I'm going to read this quote from Sanjo Jandehi, and it says, "Listening doesn't always equate to hearing. Hearing doesn't always lead to understanding. But active listening helps a person truly see the other." So through this time and all those hours that we spent together, we got to reflect inwardly. We got to learn from each other. And we had multiple strategies taught to us through our trainer from Montgomery County on how to actively listen that we are going to be able to take back and share with our colleagues. The goal, as all of us as educators, our goal is we want to empower our students. We want them to love learning. We want them to be successful members of society. And as a teacher, the biggest tool that we have is to be actively listeners so that we can see, not only hear, what they need and make them successful.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you guys.
No, go ahead.
I think that you may are going to say this, but how many English as a second language there are at Bauer School alone?
At Bauer alone, gosh, I do not work at Bauer, so I can't quote exact numbers there, but I know my caseload alone, I have 77 students on my caseload, just for me.
And how many languages are there with your
20
77?
plus.
20 plus languages.
Different languages.
That's a big barrier, and I know.
Right.
Am I correct? Is it 14 alone? That's 14 different languages at Bauer alone.
I think that was last year. I think she's
I think
up to
it's close to 20.
over 20 at Bauer.
Over
this
20
year.
now. Okay.
Yep.
I mean that's just incredible. I mean that's I don't want to call it a burden, but it's a barrier. It's hard to overcome if you don't have the people to do it.
It definitely needs us to be able to be active listeners so that we can hear what their needs are.
Thank you.
So moving into the second year, I am looking very much forward to the opportunity to share the strategies that we learn and to take those to my colleagues so that we can all be active listeners and promote success for the district.
Good evening again. My name is Onika Tucker, teacher at Miamisburg Middle School, 8th grade intervention specialist, working with students with special needs. We have 2 quotes up here for you that were impactful to everyone in diversity, equity, or equity fellows. "When I see you through my eyes, I think that we are different. When I see you through my heart, I know that we are the same." And the second one is, "Difference is of the essence of humanity. Difference is an accident of birth, and it should therefore never be the source of hatred or conflict. The answer to difference is to respect it. Therein lies a most fundamental principle of peace, respect for diversity." I started in the district in 2006, So I've been here, this is my 19th year in this community, and I tell this story all the time. I left Dayton Public to come to Miamisburg, and I can't count how many of my friends and family worried about that move. They said, why would you want to go to a community that is not as accepting and tolerant of people that look like you? And, you know, I thought on it for a little bit. And I said to myself, but there are students in that district who do look like me. And those students need teachers that represent them. So this was something that's very near and dear to my heart. As long as I've been in this district, this is the first year that I think as a district it has been intentional about trying to bring a program such as this that is meant to impact and foster communication amongst teachers, as well as how do we help our students, whether they're disenfranchised due to race, ethnicity, whether it's social economic status. Our community is changing. The Burg has changed quite a bit since I started here in 2006. It's going to continue to change. So at some point, we as a district and teachers have to change with it. So I was appreciative of the fact being brought to the table that in this moment I had a voice to be heard, to be listened to be respected, and to be valued. So I think this program, any naysayers that we have out there need to understand that what is important for our kids is that sense of belonging and making sure that all children, no matter what they look like, feel like they belong.
Alrighty. I'm Becca Huber. I'm the principal of Kinder Elementary School. And we had a lot of topics we talked about, but one that really hit home was the danger of the single story. As humans, we take the facts that we learn about others and we create a construct that becomes their story that we've given them. We live in a day of snap judgments. We hear one story about someone and suddenly we just have that singular understanding based on who they are, their culture, or their country. The way we listen and relate to others is driven by that single story. The single story creates stereotypes, and the problem with the stereotypes is not that they're untrue, but that they are incomplete. Single stories we often create in education. The single mom who doesn't care, the lazy teen who refuses to work, or the wild kid that just won't sit still. When we take time to listen and learn more than just that single story, we learn about the single mom who's been called every day for years, doesn't have any trust with the school, and just needs some help with some resources. We learn about the teen who works nights so he can help put food on the table. Is he lazy or exhausted? And we learn about the kid who's been in 3 different foster homes in 5 years and is living every day in fight or flight. All of us up here and sitting back there have complex, multifaceted stories, yet we all create these single stories in our head about others. The consequence of it is this: it robs people of dignity. It makes our recognition of humanity difficult. It emphasizes how we are different rather than how we're similar. Year 1 of Equity Fellows was entitled Informing Self. Our goal in the program was to really learn to listen to each other. My hope is that this time will remind me that each person has their own story and not the single story I've given them. I plan to take the next few years and really focus on taking the time to learn about, listen to, and connect with others in order to learn their stories.
So, you know, we have implicit biases. We don't think about what we know and don't know very deeply, and this program really facilitated that. But this is just a quote. Actually, I think Onika picked this quote. Casey? We work together so well. It's all good. An equitable educator will acknowledge that just because it worked for me does not mean it works for my students. Passion for equity leads to a creative process of building a new educational system. And y'all know building isn't easy. And it works, but a system that works for all students and all educators all of the time. So I love what Onika said about we got to change with the times, and that's what this is about.
creativity, brilliance,
And care?
care and beauty that already exist in our respective communities. That's our goal moving forward.
Questions?
And we're super excited to do the work.
No, I just wanted to say, this is important work, and I just appreciate that you took time out of your busy schedule to participate in this and bring it to the rest of the staff. I did listen to the video that you told me to listen to. Yeah, very good. Yeah, thank you. On behalf of our students.
Okay, it's recommended that the Board of Education approve the meeting opening items A through H. Have a motion.
I move for the approval of opening items A Alpha through H Hotel.
I second it.
Okay, we got first from Mr. Ambler, second from Mrs. Neese. Roll call?
Mr. Daffler,
Yes.
Mrs. Getter,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler.
Yes.
Okay, and that item has passed. Move to the approval of the adoption revision of board policies. Excuse me. Item A in that section is the approval to waive the first reading of the board policy. It is recommended that the Board of Education waive the first reading of the following board policy: interest-aged mandatory kindergarten. Next, B, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following board policy: interest-aged mandatory kindergarten. That sounds a lot the same, but it's, okay. And then, let's see, I think that we may want somebody to speak a little bit there.
I can speak to that. This is a very minor revision, but an important distinction so that our board policy language aligns to what is actually in law and reflected by ODE. It ensures that all students are 5 by, and our previous language was on or before, and so it makes that distinction, which is important as we're in the kindergarten registration process. Any children whose birthday is August 1st will need to wait until the following year, but now we can ensure that our language is aligned and make that distinction. So
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
We got a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do need a motion for that one, don't I? Everything is just moving so fast tonight. That's all right. Where am I at?
C.
I need a motion, please.
I move for the adoption revision of board policy items A and B.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we had a first from Mr. Daffler, second from Mr. Ambler. Roll call.
Mrs. Getter,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler.
Yes.
Okay, and that's passed. Consent agenda. I'm gonna do this a little bit different this evening for the sake of time. Okay. Item A is the approval of the overnight extended student trips. Item B is approval of out-of-state overnight student trips. Item C is approval of the class of 2023 early graduates for Miamisburg High School. I will read that. Principal Michael Black, Miamisburg High School, has recommended that Gabrielle Pig, Caden Pascal, and Rissa Whitley for early graduation pending satisfactory completion of all state and local requirements. Item D is for the Miamisburg High School graduates. Principal Michael Black of Miamisburg High School has submitted the attached class of 2023 diploma list. These students have been recommended for the graduation pending satisfactory completion of all state and local requirements. Item E is approval of the student handbook for the school year 2023-2024. Item F is recommended that the Board of Education approve the use and purchase of the following instructional materials. And that list is available to anyone that would like to check them out and see them for themselves. Item G is approval, recognition of the organization and club. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following organizational club: the Black Student Union. Item H, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve all the consent items A through G. Do I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve consent items A through G.
Go
Getter?
ahead. Go ahead, Nyla.
I second.
Very good. We got to break her in.
2 words.
Okay, we had a first from Mrs. Neese, second from Mrs. Getter. Are there any questions or anything about any of those items, guys? All right.
Do we have a final number on graduation yet? Number as far as students? I know it's always. No, I mean, I know that there was some additions or some subtractions. Rough ballpark.
I think it's about 400.
I was going to say, I didn't know if we were over 4 or just right
We're
there.
a little over 4 is what.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Please count.
No, please do not. No.
Why don't we just pause for a minute and let her do that?
No, let's not pause. We can keep going.
Okay.
Sorry I asked.
I just double checked my weather and it says Saturday it's only going to be 70 degrees out at the hottest, so. And sunshiny. It'll be a great day for graduation. Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Neese,
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler,
No.
Mrs. Getter.
Yes.
Okay. Next, we get to the human resources agenda items. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following personnel reports. And those are file attachments to our agenda. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following personnel report: supplemental stipend, certificated and classified. Employment in the Miamisburg City School District is contingent upon the candidate submitting to and passing a BCI and FBI criminal record check in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code and pre-employment drug screening in accordance with the adopted board policies. Item C. This is approval of administrative contract renewals. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following administrative contract renewals. Sarah Busick, 3-year, she's supervisor of preschool. Mary Jo Downer, 3 years, licensed social worker. Michelle Fraley, 3 years, occupational therapist. Marissa Hatton, 3-year, occupational therapist. Diana Keller, principal, 3 years. Eric Linsky, assistant principal, middle school, 3 years. Katie Lucas, director for student services, 3 years. Hayden Moore, supervisor of gifted services, 3 years. Shelby Meyer, school psychologist, 3 years. Jason Osborne, athletic director, 3 years. Shannon Rupert, principal, 3 years. Jason Shade, assistant athletic director, 3 years. Tammy Sunderman, principal, 3 years. Kelly Thomas, Miamisburg Middle School principal, 3 years. Classified, effective July 21st, 2023. Teresa Greenley, EMIS coordinator, 3 years. Ed Hutchinson, assistant maintenance supervisor, 3 years. Bill Klaber, 3 years, technology supervisor. Ravella Lawson, nutrition services supervisor, 3 years. Okay. Item D, it's recommended the Board of Education approve human resources items A through C. Do we have a motion?
I move for the approval of human resources items A through C.
I second it.
Okay, we had a first from Mr. Daffler, a second from Mrs. Neese. Any questions or anything? Any comments?
No, I mean, these are just our normal contract renewals for every 3 years, and then the classified and the certified, we do have some changes. Obviously, in the attachments of different, we were able to place all of the teachers in the openings that we were able to identify as we got ready for staffing for next year. So those are all set. So everyone is leaving for the summer knowing where their assignment will be.
Okay, good. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dovine,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler,
Yes.
Mrs. Getter,
Abstain.
Mrs. Neese.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to agreements and contracts. It is recommended by the superintendent and assistant superintendent, director of business, to approve an agreement with Rural Excavating for work to be completed at Medlerview Elementary School as presented. And you can see that on an attachment. You want to speak about that now?
It's just in the back of Medlerview with our preschool program in the very back of the school where we used to have the modulars. We're just expanding that a little bit so there's a better turnaround. So we had to put some gravel down. So we're just extending that pavement to make it easier access and easier to turn around and just keep the traffic flow flowing and safe.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It really is. It's safer. That's the main thing. You use the key word there, it's safer.
Yes.
So. Okay, item B is recommended by the treasurer CFO to approve an agreement with Julian and Grube for accounting and compliance work to be completed as presented. That's with the Miamisburg CSD to Medicaid proposal.
I can take it if you want me to, Justin.
Okay, great. Thanks. He always likes to get off the hook.
Yeah, exactly. We are a Medicaid schools program, and we are required to be audited every year on the claims that are made for the services that are provided in our district. So Julian Group is the, I guess you'd call third-party accounting firm that actually does that audit each year.
Thank you. C is recommended by the superintendent, treasurer, CFO, and assistant superintendent of business and human resources to Miamisburg Board of Education approve the Jansen Myers Child Abuse Foundation contract for sponsorship of the scoreboards located at MHS and at Harmon Field. The contract is in the amount of $25,000 for a period of 5 years.
This is just part of our scoreboard sponsorship. Mr. Osborne and Mr. Shade worked on getting those spots, and this is the 5th spot that's on our scoreboard for the next 5 years.
Thank you.
Very generous donation, so we appreciate that.
And that money is well needed and well used. Thank you. Item D, the superintendent and treasurer CFO recommends that Miamisburg City School District Board of Education approve the attached agreement for the Montgomery County Educational Service Center, also shortened as the ESC, for the 2023-2024 school year as presented.
This is our master contract for services that the ESC provides us each year. So those services are anywhere from hearing services, visually impaired services, learning center placements, specialized behavioral placements for just a variety of reasons. So we approve this contract each year for them to provide that service to us.
Thank you, Katie. Item E, the superintendent and the treasurer CFO recommends that the Miamisburg City School District Board of Education approve the attached agreement for Warren County Educational Service Center for the year 2023-2024.
Montgomery County can't provide us everything we need, so we also have to. We also work with Warren County to provide a lot of those services. They provide us physical therapy services, some speech services, psychological services, as well as specialized placements as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Lucas. See, Mrs. Gatter, she did a better job of explaining that than I did.
You're welcome to call me if you need
She's like, yeah, Mrs. Gatter, over, last couple of days we've been talking, and she said, what exactly did they do there? So, thank you for that, Katie. You did a great job. Okay, and so we go to item F. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following resolution declaring intent not to provide career technical education in grades 7 through 8. Whereas the revised code section 3313.90A requires each city, local, and exempted village school district to provide for students in grades 7 through 12 career technical education by means of establishing and maintaining a program, by being a member of a joint vocational school district, or by contracting with the JVSD or another school district. And I'm going to quit there and let you speak to it.
Let's stop. This is just, it's not that we don't provide career technical education. This Ohio Revised Code says a partnership with a vocational school and provide a specific pathway through the middle school. So we don't have a specific pathway. Please rest assured we offer career education, career exploration. We offer our STEM classes and any type of career education at our middle school. It's just not in a specific career pathway following through from up to high school.
Okay, thank you. Item G, the superintendent, the superintendent and assistant superintendent / director of business human resources recommend that the Board of Education approve the following agreement between the Miamisburg City Schools and Premier Occupational Health for costs related to drug screening, vaccinations, and follow-up care and initial injury care as presented.
And this is just, we approved one vendor last month. Mr. Homan always prefers to have a second option in case we have, one of the first vendors isn't available. This is just another option for folks to go to, especially dealing with a lot of our bus driver requirements.
Okay, thank you. As recommended by the superintendent, this is item H, is recommended by the superintendent and assistant superintendent, director of student services, to approve an agreement and an MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding with YMCA as presented. I'll just let you speak to that.
Sure, I think Mrs. Lucas is going to talk about it.
So
one of these days I'm going to get this right.
That's okay. So there's two different pieces there. So the first one is the agreement that we have with the YMCA for them to utilize our facilities to provide an aftercare and before care option for our families in our elementary buildings. Currently, we have centers at Jane Chance, Motherview, Mound, and Motherview. I guess I didn't say Motherview, sorry. And then we also have opportunities where we have like one family at Bear that utilizes it, so we help them with transportation to come over to Mound. And I think we also have maybe a couple kinder families that we do that too for as well. So this is an agreement that we enter into them to do that. The exciting piece of this agreement this year is in lieu of rent, which they would typically pay us for that area, they are offering our teachers before and after care up to 10 hours a week. Thank you. 10 hours a week free for them to be able to use the before and after care Y facility. So for any teacher who has a child in the district and needs a staff member, yeah, thank you. It's staff member, sorry, that has a child in the district and needs that before and after care, they get up to 10 hours of that care at no cost for up to 70 spots. So that's in lieu of us them paying any rent to us for that. Then the second piece on there is an MOU. They were provided, the YMCA was provided with a huge grant from OKRA, which is a child care agency, that they shared with us, that is allowing us a total of That's right. $170,000. Sorry, the amount is like on like this every time we turn around. $170,000 to utilize to purchase just a variety of things for the buildings that they're in. So sanitizing equipment. So we're looking at buying floor cleaners for those buildings, and vacuums and a couple other things. Also, the Kivak machine, and then as well as some mulch replacement on the playgrounds, and some curriculum as well, that we're able to use that funding to purchase in those 3 buildings as well. So once we get that all figured out and get that all purchased, there'll be basically the Y is purchasing it, and then they will turn around and donate it back to the district. So once it's all done, you're going to see the donation on the next board agenda for all of that equipment. So.
That was very impressive. You never had any looked at anything or anything. You just rattled it all off. That's great. Okay, next we'll go to item I. It is the recommendation of the Treasurer, CFO, Business Director of Business, and Transportation Supervisor to approve a transportation agreement with the City of Miamisburg. Under the terms of the agreement, Miamisburg City School District will transport students participating in the city's summer recreation programs to various locations throughout the state of Ohio. In return, the City of Miamisburg agrees to reimburse the Miamisburg City School District for all costs incurred. Okay.
So our summer school sites will be at Kinder and Mark Twain, and we will provide the bus service for any field trips they go on during their summer camp, and then the Parks and Rec will reimburse us for all of those transportation costs. So they have a formula not only for mileage, wear and tear, and fuel is included in that, as well as the salary for the drivers.
Okay, thank you. Item J, it is the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the resolution accepting the contract for the Miamisburg Middle School parking lot resurfacing project as presented.
This is part of our capital improvement plan, and we don't necessarily have to enter into the bidding process because we are part of a cooperative purchasing, but we decided to go out for bids because we wanted to try to be a little more competitive and try to find the best price. So we did a bid for that parking lot. We received 4 bids. It should be done this summer. We're going with NERA, and they had great prices and great references. This is the first time we've been using this company. We worked with our architect to plan out the design, and I don't believe the parking lot at the middle school has been repaved since its construction. So it's definitely time. So they're looking forward to that, and they should start if we get board approval tonight, probably right after school gets out. So that'll be nice.
It's only been about 12 years.
Yeah.
Huh. I remember that. Okay. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve agreements and contracts items A through K.
I move for the approval of agreement and contracts, items A, Alpha through J, Juliet.
Second. Okay. First from Mr. Ambler. Second from Mr. Daffler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amsler?
Yes.
Mr. Daffler?
Yes.
Mrs. Getter?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Tovine?
Yes. Okay, and all those items have been approved. Next, we'll move on to the financial agenda items. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the required May 2023 five-year forecast to be submitted to the Ohio Department of Education. With this, I will go to Mr. Levis.
Please don't make me do the presentation again.
You have to, son.
I mean, that's, when I mentioned that the entire forecast was up on board docs, it's just the, kind of like the technical breakdown that shows line by line, everything that I was summarizing for you all.
Okay. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Item B, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the transfer of unused funds from the Class of 2023 fund to the Campus Quest Fund after all expenses are paid.
Which one is this?
It's item B. I believe that when the any class, they don't use their funds, they can direct it to be donated to a certain fund or a certain cause. So that is
That's
what
correct.
they do.
Yep. Okay. Any questions about that, guys? No? Okay, good. Item C, it is recommended by the treasurer, the CFO, that the Board of Education approve the temporary appropriations for fiscal year 2024.
Start from the top. Right.
Corey Daffler, I'm
Just,
telling you what right now. You will not make it out that door, I can tell you that.
okay, just give a quick overview, would you please?
You can't, we're not allowed to legally spend money that's not budgeted, and so, since I'm not aware of what that's gonna be for 2024 until we close out 2023, this is just common practice, to put in a temporary appropriations so that we can start off the financial year.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Okay. Item D, it is recommended by the treasurer, CFO, that the Board of Education approve the following purchase orders. Those are available. Item E, there's a set estimate set estimate versus actual variances to zero for the fiscal year FY23. As recommended by the Board of Education to authorize the treasurer to set estimated amounts to the actual amounts in the accounting software.
And this is just to help with the year-end closing. We set amounts that we have estimated now that we have actuals that have come in, and just kind of balance in the books, more or less, is what this is.
Okay, thank you. Item F, it's the approval of the transfer of funds from the general fund to a 019 account. This is a one-time transfer.
And so there were funds receipted into the general fund with specific purpose, and so this will allow us to put those in an 019 fund that can be rolled over to the next fiscal year for use.
Thank you. Pretty much standard procedure stuff here.
Yes.
It is recommended by the treasurer, the CFO, that the appropriations certificate of estimated resources be amended as listed in the attached report. And those attached reports are available if anyone would like to read them. Yes. And they're not very exciting to read.
They're even less exciting to have to talk about. So.
Are you trying to tell me something about it?
No.
Levin? No? Okay. Can we move on? Or are you going to say something?
No, I'm good.
Okay. He's good. All right. H, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the financial items A through G. Do I have a motion?
I move to recommend that the Board of Education approve financial items A through G.
I second.
Okay. Good. Roll call.
Mr. Daffler?
Yes.
Mrs. Getter?
Yes.
Mrs. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine?
Yes.
Mr. Amsler?
Yes.
Okay. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following list of donations. All monies will be used through each school's 018 account unless indicated otherwise. There's $735.16 from the class of 2019 to the Miamisburg High School Athletic Complex.
And it's just, we have put on for you all to accept this, so.
Okay.
I will move to accept those donations. Second.
Okay, so once again, it was Mr. Ambler, second from Mr. Daffler, and a big thank you to the class of 2019. Roll call.
Mrs. Getter,
Yes.
Mrs. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to, this is for information purposes only. The Board of Education regular meeting will be held on Thursday, June 29th of 2023 at 6 p.m. at the City of Miamisburg Council Chambers. The local Professional Development Committee of the Miamisburg City Schools will hold their 2023-2024 meetings on the following dates: September 21st of 23, January 18th of 24, March 14th of 24, and May 8th of 2024. All meetings for the LPDC will be held virtually during the 2023-2024 school year.
I don't think we're holding them virtually anymore, are we?
Can't hear you.
I don't believe we're holding them virtually anymore, the LPDC meetings, so we just need to strike that from the.
Yeah, well, we're at the end of the school year anyway, so, yeah. So it's null and void. Okay. Next, we'll go to reports, and we'll go to Dr. Joe Isakovitz of the MVCTC.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I had the pleasure of attending and addressing the senior recognition night last night at the Nutter Center for our seniors. Each of you have been given a program for that event. As I say, I was honored to be able to speak to the graduates and was very appreciative of the fact that Dr. Blessing was in attendance for the whole 9 yards. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Along with that, quick recap, we had 645 in attendance. Talked briefly about scholarships. Tech Prep scholarships awarded to our students, $2,376,000.
Wow.
The actual total of all scholarships going to our students, $5,348,000. And I told Dr. Blessing I've got a recap here that I will get to her and she can have copies made because my printer will not live long enough to do that. A point of note, Cheyenne Lawhorn from pre-nursing in Miamisburg was our salutatorian last night, which was great. Also, I attended the Youth Connections graduation on Friday, May 12th, 2023. Was very proud of the fact that 2 of our students from Miamisburg graduated. You know, Youth Connections is a super function that we perform. I think we did for a time here in Miamisburg. We had our own. But it really allows students that don't feel connected to become connected and to graduate. And from Miamisburg, we had Aiden Freeman and Aaliyah Napier of our 21 graduates. And you've got the recap there. And as you can see, we provide this service for a number of the high schools in the area. And one thing that I've talked about over the years when we had the operation on Edwin C. Moses Boulevard. It was really logistically difficult for the schools to get the students there. We are bringing that, we brought it on campus now at CTC. We're expanding the operation, and as I've always said, all the schools run school buses to us, so it's an opportunity for all the schools to utilize our youth connections. So, also, as mentioned earlier, House Bill 33, 200 million will be allocated and distributed in the next 2 fiscal years to support career technical facilities and their expansion. And this is in response to the explosive growth that we're witnessing. And we will be sending in a grant request. We're actually looking on to adding to the new building to cover electrical, construction, high vac, and welding. And that equals 78 students who had one of these programs requested this year that actually we weren't able to incorporate. So we'll be able to expand our efforts in that regard. Also, congratulations to our computer coding and web applications and medical lab assisting seniors that earned Sinclair career certifications. Jeremiah Bird, computer coding and web applications from Miamisburg, earned fast track programming certification. For the 5th year, our computer coding and web application students presented their research at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, and students competed in the NASA Hunch program. We had a group of Seth Lyle and from Miamisburg, Eris Suther were announced as finalists. Their prototype project was the Solar Tracker software system for the Mars rover project. So that's the 5th year we've been involved with NASA. Also, computer coding and web application students, veterinary science team finishes first in the state, and Dalton Hill from Miamisburg was part of that group. Also, a Highest Skills USA Leadership. Congratulations to the following students that placed in the top 10 of the Highest Skills USA competition in April. Automated Manufacturing Team Contest, 4th in Ohio. And Anthony Ewing from Miamisburg Robotics and Automation was part of that team. Also, Robotics and Automation Technology Team Contest, 6th in Ohio, William Butler from Miamisburg. And Teamworks Team, 3rd in Ohio, Christopher Hoskins from the Construction Carpentry area of Miamisburg. Quick construction update. During February, March, and April, they pretty much deconstructed the west side of the existing campus building. And this will provide new spaces for following career technical programs: biotechnology, cosmetology, culinary arts, early childhood education, health occupations, hospitality services, medical lab assisting, pre-nursing, and as I said, the Youth Connections unit will be there. And we have 10 weeks to do all this messy and noisy stuff before school starts. So hopefully we'll stay on schedule. Basically, that's all I've got. Any questions or comments? If not, I know Chris is ready to go, so I will not hold you any longer. Thank you very much.
Okay, It is, Chris Ambler is our student achievement liaison, and I asked him to do a little thing for the article about Asher Pennington family. It's a very good item.
Do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Do you want to do Corey first, or you want to do me first? The legislative liaison.
No, Corey was bad tonight. I'm gonna make him wait.
Okay. Students of the month. So if we go back to April, yes. Other students of the month at Bauer Elementary School, Ira Patel. Bear Elementary School, Abby Conley. Jane Chance Elementary, Leah Baker. Kinder Elementary School, Ruby Webb. Mark Twain Elementary School, Avery Conifer. Medlerview Elementary, June Daffler. Mound Elementary School, Zane Abushanab. And Miamisburg Middle School, Abigail Yeager. So that was April. And if we go to May for other students of the month, Bauer Elementary School, Thanisha Puvari. Bear Elementary School, Brantley Haddix. Jane Chance Elementary, Mason Kessler. Kinder Elementary School, Jace Marlowe. Medlerview Elementary School, Lexi Garog. Mound Elementary School, Gunnar McGreevy. Miamisburg Middle School, Noah Katzenmeister. And Miamisburg High School, Candy Carpenter. So congratulations to those students of the month, April and May. There you go. Oh, you want me
till it comes to me?
Huh?
You want to wait till it comes to me before you?
Oh, you want me to do that one? This one too.
Please do.
Meet Asher Pennington. Third grade Asher Pennington started a fundraiser at Bear Elementary School in Miamisburg so that he could help kids get the medical care they need. Asher's passion giving back began after his brother Eric spent time at the Dayton Children's NICU, or NICU, back in 2002, or 2010, sorry. Asher said that his brother spent time in a box because of his time he was in an incubator. He started collecting pull tabs because he knows that's a way to help families when they need it the most. Asher shared his passion for giving with the students, teachers, and staff at Bear Elementary School. As part of the student council, he began a pull tab collection campaign called Poppin' with Kindness. He created a presentation and shared his message each morning during the announcements. He and his school collected tabs during a 6-month period. They quickly achieved their goal of 50 pounds and increased the goal. At the end of 6 months, Asher Bear Elementary School collected over 200 pounds of tabs. Asher came to Ronald McDonald House, Dayton breakfast briefing to drop off the tabs and learn more about how his effects impacts the house, family rooms, and families using our services. It was rewarding to see how engaged he was, said Missy Pennington, regarding how it feels to see how hard her son worked on this project. Asher also knew the stats on how many tabs it would take to purchase certain items for the house. He would talk and share his collection plans with just about anyone he encountered. Asher's passion for giving back truly made a difference to the Ronald McDonald House of Dayton. Congratulations to him and a well thought of project.
Yep, it was great, wasn't it? Corey Daffler.
I'll keep it short and sweet. House Bill 33 passed. That's the House biennial budget, 7719. Been talked about a couple times here tonight. House Bill 33 is now on Senate committees. The Education Committee has had 8 hearings so far this week and should be on the Senate floor early June. There's lots of amendments there, but basically we'll know in early June what they tell us to do. So that's all I got for this evening.
Thank you. Mrs. Neese was unable to attend the meeting, the Montgomery County Drug-Free Coalition meeting today. And I couldn't go either, so between the two of us, we get an F for today. Obviously, both of us had some health issues, so. The district news was shared by Mr. Antler. Thank you, sir. And you have anything at this time that you would like to talk about on any of the things that we just talked about? No. No? Okay. I usually don't ask that question of you, but I did because I know that I had some questions for Joe, but I was really getting really tired, about ready to go to sleep. I know, you always get me. Okay. Actually, Joe, thank you, because it's pretty neat when you share the things about what our kids have done that are in our district but outside of our district. We don't get to see that except most of the time unless you give us to us. So, thank you. Start down with Mr. Daffer again, and
Most notably, I like the good evening. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. Thanks, Dale, for the presentation. That was nice. And all the retirees, I think it was 214.8 years of service in Miamisburg. That is quite notable. And look forward to graduation on Saturday, and I'm glad the weather is going to be good to us. That's all I have.
I will be quick as well. I want to congratulate all of our mini grant participants that were out there this evening, and quite a lot of neat ideas. So congratulations to them. All excitement. I would also like to congratulate all of our retirees. Anytime you can retire on your own terms is quite a significant achievement. And I know that's not always the case. So I commend them for their service. Along with that, I wanted to say from Dale Geyer all the way to all of our presenters tonight, if you got up to speak, phenomenal job. Thank you for sharing your experience and what we have going on in the schools. Lastly, or second to the lastly, I would say our first year without mask and all the things that have to go along with that. It's been a great year, from the superintendent to anyone that works in the district. I don't care what you do. You're valued, you're needed, you're supported. And I just want to say, don't care what school you're in, I appreciate everything that you do for us and our students, and I just want to give you guys a huge thank you. Lastly, I want to say to our congratulating class of 2023, this is our pinnacle to give out diplomas. A lot of us know kids. I know plenty that's getting ready to graduate, and it's always an exciting time. So congratulations to our 2023 class.
Well, I would like to thank everyone for welcoming me. It's going to be an interesting time as I'm learning. I told my husband I feel like I'm in graduate school again, learning a new language. I truly enjoyed the poster presentation that was out in the lobby this evening. I was amazed at the creativity of the teachers in their grant proposals, and then how the students grew through the utilization of the grant. I'd also like to congratulate the retirees. How exciting. They're moving on to a new adventure. And the graduates, because they are also moving on to a new adventure.
No, I just wanted to welcome Mrs. Getter to our board. It's nice to have, sorry guys, but it's nice to have a woman on the board with me. She answers text immediately.
And Ann and I have been friends since the 7th grade.
So.
Just a couple years.
Just kidding. You always get back to me eventually. I
Have
know.
been.
Five-year, very nice and easy to understand 5-year forecast. And yes, 23. It's truly exciting to go to graduation and be part of that. And that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll be short and sweet. I know that's unusual, Mr. Ambler. You don't have to say it. Joe, be kind. Congratulations to our retirees. I have a lot of real close connections with several of those people tonight, and they're just a good bunch that we're unfortunately seeing go away. So, but I hope they have a very good retirement and lots of years ahead of them. Our 5-year forecast was excellent, in about every way except we got to teach this guy to get a little louder, talk a little louder, be more aggressive. But, other than that, he's done a great job. Thank you, sir.
For sure.
The presentations were fabulous. And thanks to you people out here that gave a lot to the meeting tonight with making some things understandable that would not have been understandable had you not talked about it. Class of 2023, it's a very large class. Matter of fact, it's probably one of the largest ones we've had in a few years. But we've got several of them that are going to be that large, or I'm sure larger by the time some of these get up to where these guys are at with all the housing and developments coming in there. So anyway, that's Saturday.
Yes.
And it starts at 10 o'clock, and get out there early and get you a seat.
The parade is going to start around 9:30, I think.
Oh.
So just remember that, the parade for the Spring Fest. So.
Okay.
Teacher grants were awesome. I wished I could have spent more time out there with them, but at this point, my back will not allow me to do that. But anyway, thanks. I'm done.
Just congratulations to everybody who retired, and I hope that one day I get to retire. I have a hard time presenting, but hopefully I got the point across that,
Did a great job.
things,
You did great.
regardless of what happens in June, like at some point we'll have to address kind of the direction we're taking. So, and I'm obviously happy to answer questions, just not in front of a bunch of people. So, thanks.
You're fine.
Well, we have 5 school days left. That's one hand. So I know all of our educators are happy, and students as well from the DARE graduations I've been attending. This is our 150th graduation on Saturday, so that's exciting. We'll be sure to let the seniors know that. And also, as part of that graduation, I just want to give a shout out. Stacy probably knows all their names, Katie as well, all of our staff that helped get those 404 graduates across the stage. I know that as of late, we had, that final push to get all of those students, and not only are they graduating, but we have students going into the military, into careers, into trades as well as college. So that's very exciting. We did accept the resignation of Zach Klein, one of our high school administrators, assistant principal. He's been with the district 24 years, so we wish him well in his next assignment. And I just want to thank all of our presentations this evening, all of our students. Students of the month were exceptional. Our presentations by our staff and our administration. Truly, everyone inspires me to do better. So I do appreciate that, and looking forward to our final week of school. So thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Ladies? No? Anybody out there want to say anything? It's only been... This is our longest meeting, Mrs. Gatter. This is our longest meeting that we've had in this year, so congratulations, you made it through. Okay. Is there anything that anybody would like to speak about at all before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Unless we're gonna take a restroom break.
I know, I'm not.
Well, it's too late for that. No.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to stop at Memorial.
Oh, did they lock?
It's too late for that. We don't want to get into that. Okay. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
First, Ms. Neese, second, Mr. Daffler. Roll call, please.
Ms. Neese,
Yes.
Mr. Toadvine,
Yes.
Mr. Amsler,
Yes.
Mr. Daffler.
Yes.
Mrs. Getter.
Yes.
And we are adjourned at 8:35.